Taylor, what's the update, I guess, as far as playing time goes for John Morant, Jake Aradia, and Steven Adams?
Steven, yeah, those three guys are questionable. I think pretty good chance that Jake plays after shoot around and what the medical team told me in the morning. John will be questionable up until game time, doing some final testing on the hamstring, and then Steven, he's probably out tonight.
Taylor, how do you look at this next stretch of games here, this 2-3 weeks going into January 1st, where you're playing a lot of teams that have very good records, teams that are in the top 6 in the stands? I know it's really early in the season still before Christmas, but do you look at it as I don't know, test maybe, not even or like a quiz, like a chance to see where exactly you're at right now?
Yeah, I mean, we don't try to delve into that too much when we understand the schedule ahead from an opponent standpoint, from a travel standpoint, from a density standpoint. There's a lot of things coming our way. Luckily, in the next couple of weeks, we get a couple of opportunities, 2 days in between games, where we get to freshen up a little bit, but also put in some quality work. I think the true test is going to be really understanding how our guys are going to handle those opportunities to truly get better, knowing that we're wrapping up a home stretch here, and we're about to really dive into the road, especially out west. Against good teams, wrap that all up. It's going to be a tough stretch of the schedule for sure, but we're bringing guys in back into the lineup, which is going to be great over the next couple of weeks to see. So the focus is going to be us on at the end of the day.
Coach, I know defensively you never play a perfect game, but how close do you get into your comfort level of having plus 90% satisfaction with your defense?
Yeah, I'm not going to put a percentage on it, but compared to how we started the season, just really proud of the guys and how they've embraced the defensive side of the ball. I mean, there's still so many things, communication errors or help defense errors, finishing possession, situational management. As you said, we're far from still throwing a perfect game, but luckily our defensive numbers have turned. I think it's a product of work and a care factor. Our guys knew that they were not satisfied, and that's not up to our standard. What we did the first 10 plus games, even first almost 20 games, but the last 5 games have been more indicative of how we want to be. But we just got to control our mentality and that edge, knowing that really sparks our offense. And I think there's been some games recently that we've won where our offense has struggled, but our defense is what kept us in the game. So as long as our guys are hanging that on their hat, that's a big thing for us moving forward. We know we're going to get tested moving forward, but it's just our principles at the end of the day.
Going back to Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson Jr. with that pairing, like how much of Steven Adams and his presence, defensively is a factor in the way that you deploy Jaren Jackson Jr. defensively, allowing him to basically have what it looks like a little bit more freedom, in the defense? How much of that is because, you have Steven Adams on the back end as well?
I think it's a couple different combinations. I mean, you paired JJ with, BC. Sometimes JJ's guarding the 5. Obviously, when he's with Steven's most likely guarding the 5. JJ's going to be, one of our more active defenders anyway, no matter who he's guarding, who he's paired with. That's part of our kind of, defensive DNA is unleashing him. It gives us some different versatility in terms of the coverages, even if they play a smaller 4 or a bigger 4, are we switching more, less switching, whatever it might be. I mean, that's just the beauty of what JJ can do defensively. So obviously Steven's going to be an anchor for us defensively, in certain situations, but Jaren's equally doing that as well. And then the fact that you can, play a lot of different guys with Steven or with Jaren is a huge benefit to us.
Taylor, what do you make of the way Dylan has been able to adjust offensively on a game-to-game basis based on personnel and the quality of shots that he's getting at this point this season?
Yeah, I got to give DB a lot of credit because it's kind of changing every few games. The weight of the responsibility. The responsibility is always the same in terms of being, a quality shot taker, playmaker. I've been really impressed with his movement of the ball. You look at the stats sheet and you see multiple assists, nice, but sometimes maybe not multiple assists, but he's trying to get off the ball. Credit to him because teams are trying to throw stuff at him. They're blitzing him. They're being more physical with him when they know he's going to be more of a primary playmaker for us. But I've been really impressed. He's always, pushing himself to even getting better and becoming more efficient, and sometimes shots aren't falling for him, whether it's, from the mid-range or even get to the rim or the three-point line. But when he puts games together, it's super impactful for our wins.
Coach, hope you've been well. Obviously, with Zaire being back and now Santi back in a reserve role, the defensive activity of those two really seems to stand out. Zaire last year, Santi obviously is making a lot of plays on the defensive end. Just the bench defense, the versatility that's there, it stood out last year, starting to stand out this year. How much is that depth helping on the end, especially when the reserve units are in?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, obviously, Santi got an unbelievable, dose early in the season playing that starter role. It's kind of, ping pong back and forth occasionally when JJ's been out. A couple games recently, starter coming off the bench, but having guys that embrace the defensive side, Santi obviously playing the 4, maybe sometimes the 5, defending 5s. Zaire, a guy that can guard 1 through 4, mostly probably 1 through 3. That size, that length, that edge, that competitiveness. These guys, they're watching a lot of film, because I think I've alluded to it, with Santi, like guarding guys that are handling and pick and rolls, coming off ball screens, not just spacing the floor. Same thing with Zaire. It's not just guarding a guy in the corner. It's guarding guys coming off ball screens, dribble handoffs, pick and rolls. Those guys taking on that challenge and expanding their game defensively. When you got that coming off your bench, that just adds to hopefully the strength that our starters provide defensively too.
The way you guys have been sharing the ball lately, I know you talked about it a decent amount. I'm curious, is it something that's happening schematically that's improved, or is it a mindset change or mindset return, if you will? What do you, when you watch the film, what do you see in terms of the way you guys are sharing the ball lately?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. I mean, number one, it's definitely the mindset. We definitely had to have some sit downs and talk about the energy of the ball, the spirit of the ball, how that just elevates our offense. But then I think it's also a combination of tactically the spacing, that we've worked on recently. Our guys knowing that we did a couple minor tweaks going into the season, but if we want to have willing passers, when you have willing shooters that are going to be in the right spots of the floor, you got to be able to help your teammate create the space. If that space then gets taken away, you got to be in the right spot to be able to knock down a shot, and then the willingness to knock down shots. And then when we start making shots, then those numbers go up. So it's a totality for sure, but it's a trickle down effect from the mentality of, if we're playing with pace, we're kicking the ball ahead in the half court, we're making the early pass, we're trusting our teammates early in the shot clock and getting high quality shots. You reap those benefits from the start of the game to the end of the game. And we always talk about when we get 30 plus assists, we're undefeated. So we got to keep striving for that. To hear our players talk about that, that's just a product of just sitting down, being awesome with each other, seeing the film, understand what leads to winning Grizzlies basketball.
Thanks.
Great, thanks everyone.
Thanks.